Hey, how's it going? It's Ollie here. Very warm welcome to tonight's Facebook Live. What I'm going to do before I get started is quickly share this in a couple groups because I know there's a few people waiting for the notification, so I'm going to make sure they get to jump on the stream as well. The topic of today's Facebook Live is what are the three main risks of importing products from China and how can you avoid them so you can run a hassle-free business importing private label products. Now, I'm a seller who's done over $1 million, largely from importing products from China. So I have had a lot of issues along the way, but I've also had a lot of things go right. And now through understanding where the pitfalls are, the common problems that a lot of people encounter with this strategy, I've realized what you can do to plan ahead and make sure you don't encounter these risks. Like there's a lot of things that people are scared about when they're importing from China. They're scared that certain things are going to happen, right? So I've realized there's ways you can avoid any of these issues and actually get consistent success using these strategies. So today what I want to do is actually go over these detailed plans for how I get consistent success. So hopefully you can take them on board and implement them in your business. So, very warm welcome if you just joined us. Today we're going to be talking about the three risks of private labeling products and importing stuff from China, right? This huge opportunity we've got here, this business model that so many people are talking about. How you can avoid these risks and actually run a business that's hassle-free and therefore profitable, right? So type hey in the chat, guys, if you're alive and well. It's great to have so many of you here already. Very warm welcome to the broadcast. So here's the thing, right? The reason I wanted to do this broadcast, talking about risks and maybe focusing on something a bit negative, is with Amazon, with importing, a lot of what you're going to hear is success stories, right? People doing really, really well. Like a few of my students are doing absolutely crazy results right now with importing. You'll hear gurus out there, big business owners saying they're doing really well. I've done over $1 million on the platform. You know, these things might sound really inspiring and it's cool to have success stories. But at the same time, if you're new to the strategy, you might be thinking, well, I'm feeling a bit skeptical about private labels right now because everyone seems to be getting success and no one seems to be talking about the things that could go wrong, or nobody seems to have a contingency plan to avoid you making mistakes, right? What about all the people that failed? Why aren't they shouting about their failures and how can you learn from them? So this is why I wanted to do the broadcast and this is what we're going to be talking about today. So the point is there are risks. With any business you enter, there's going to be risks, things that can go wrong, things that may inevitably go wrong at some point, but there's no point getting worried about them or, you know, not entering into the opportunity because you could encounter a risk, but instead just have ways of dealing with it. Understand what could go wrong and how to overcome each one of those potential problems. So today we're going to talk about what's the difference between, say, my product that's doing 11K a month and a product that completely fails. Like I've had a few emails from people who will message me saying they joined another course, they tried to import a product, they did everything right, and then it just didn't sell, or they had a problem where it broke in shipping, or they got scammed, or whatever. And the frustrating thing is, they just could have made one or two tweaks to their strategy, and they could have got success. Like it's so obvious the things that they've done wrong, but it's easy for me to say that because I've got experience, right? And I understand these three main risks. So if you understand these three main risks as well, then you'll be in a position to, get results with whatever course you're following or whatever method you're following to import products. So let's see who we've got in the chat now. Well, we've got a bunch of you. Hey guys. Hey Robert, how you doing, man? Hey Andy, very warm welcome. Hey Bill. Hey Rebecca. Hey Pete. Hey Lisa, how you doing, guys? All right, awesome. It's good to have a bunch of you on today. So without any further ado, should I say, let's get into these risks. What are the main things you should be worried about, or not worried about, but planning for if you're going to be importing products? Because you want to be aware of these things that could potentially go wrong. So just before I get started with the content, guys, if you know anybody who's thinking about importing stuff from China or is doing any kind of Amazon stuff right now or is thinking about it, do share this post, because I want to genuinely help people with this Facebook Live. This is why I'm doing it. If you have knowledge, the right knowledge when you're doing this stuff, you'll avoid wasting huge amounts of money. So do share the post, like it, hit the heart button or whatever to get the word out there, because this could probably help somebody save, several £1,000s on a terrible importing mistake. So let's go through these risks. What are the main things that could go wrong? Number one thing that a lot of people worry about when they're just starting out, just looking for hot opportunities on the marketplace, looking for those products that are smash hits, right, are going to sell consistently. You hear huge numbers and you get excited about this. You're looking for a product that's going to help you get there. One of the main fears is, what if I get scammed by a supplier, right? So you're looking on Alibaba or AliExpress or somewhere to look for a product, and there's tons of suppliers there offering the products. In fact, type in the chat right now if you've ever worried about dealing with a dodgy supplier, because we've heard horror stories about people getting scammed when they're importing stuff from China, right? I mean, although 99.9% of the people you're going to be dealing with are legitimate businesses, they're just businesses like you and I are running, guys that just want to sell stock, there's going to be a few slightly sketchy suppliers out there. Let me know if you've ever worried about getting scammed doing that stuff. I mean, it is a very common thing that people worry about. I've had a lot of emails about this. Luckily, there's a really, really simple two-step method you can actually use to ensure you never get scammed. And if you do this every single time you import products, then you will never get scammed. It's almost impossible for it to happen. So when you go on Alibaba and you're doing your search, when you type something in the search bar, you'll see there's 3 checkboxes that you can check. Trade assurance, gold supplier, and on-site check. Now, if you check all 3 of those boxes, then you will only get a list of search results that displays the suppliers who are going to be reliable and they've been proven that they're legitimate businesses. So you stick to checking all 3 of those checkboxes when you do your search in Alibaba. You're going to pre-vet all of the suppliers and only choose companies who are legitimate, right? So that's kind of the first stage of this, avoiding scammers risk, right? You can avoid the risk by simply doing that. Next, this is probably something you all know. Before you import a huge amount of stock, make sure you order a sample first, right? So just get 1 unit of the product. Usually you only have to pay for shipping or a very small fee, which will be taken off a bigger order in the future. And through doing this process, getting a feel for how good the quality of the product is, you'll also figure out, is the supplier legitimate? Are they trustworthy? Do you want to work with them? Is their communication good? Are they reliable? Are they going to deliver stuff on time? Do they give you tracking, etc., etc., etc.? So throughout this process of choosing a supplier to work with, getting the sample isn't just about seeing how good the product is, it's also about seeing how good the supplier is. Right, so do those 2 things and you can pretty much never get scammed by suppliers, right? Then you don't ever really have to worry about it. So that's risk number 1, something that a lot of people do worry about. We've already eliminated it, right? It's never going to happen if you follow those 2 points. Risk number 2 that a lot of people worry about, this is something that actually happened to me. I was importing a ton of wooden products a couple months ago, well, quite a while ago now, almost a year. And a ton of them broke in shipping. Like, it sucks. You spend a load of money on products. And during the transport process, obviously they weren't really packaged up properly, and a load of them broke. So you end up wasting money, wasting time, wasting energy and resources trying to get products imported, and then they break, right? So there's something we can do to actually avoid this problem. And by taking on this piece of advice, you're going to make your life easier on so many different levels. And to make sure that products never break in shipping, you never have too many returns with customers, you never have too much customer service to do, always focus on low hassle products, right? So if you haven't heard of this term before, this is something I coined. A low hassle product is a product that's really, really simple, dead simple to import. It's light, it's durable, it's not going to break in shipping, it's intuitive to use. As soon as the customer takes it out of the box, they can just use it. And like a spatula, for example, doesn't need an instruction manual. It's made of plastic, it's durable. So low hassle products are the key, right? So risk number 2, products breaking in shipping, instantly solved if you focus on low hassle products and nothing else. If you focus on low hassle products, you'll have a low hassle business. That means less returns, less logistical nightmares, and essentially more money to keep for yourself, more profit, right? So that's risk number 2. And risk number 3, which is kind of a little bit more complicated, but this is probably the number one thing that people worry about when they're thinking about importing products from China, building a brand, is the question, what if my product doesn't sell? What if I spend 3K importing a whole bunch of stock from China, getting it into the Amazon warehouse, and on the day when it's supposed to launch and I start throwing out a load of promotions, I get crickets, right? Nothing, no sales, no customer interest, no reviews, and I've wasted all the money and wasted all the time. Well, it's understandable that you might worry about this kind of thing, right? Because especially if you're going into this venture as someone who's never done it before, the number one point where people quit is just about when they're meant to send their first payment to the Chinese supplier. They freak out. They're like, all these questions start popping into their head. What if it doesn't work? What if my product's breaking shipping? What if I get scammed? And what if my products never sell? So if I can get you past that point and actually get you to give some money to a Chinese supplier, import some stock, and you can see sales, which is something really isn't too unachievable if you follow all the points I'm telling you today. If I can get you past that hurdle, get you making sales, then you'll have 1,000 times more likelihood of importing more stock and really starting to grow a business, right? So how do you make sure your products sell before you even spend any money on stock or send any money to suppliers? Well, here's how you do it. You want to focus on a few things, right? So let me outline them for you. First thing you want to make sure is that your product has enough demand. You want to make sure that customers are actively looking to spend money on the thing that you're selling. If you're going into an area where you're the first person who's ever sold this product and you don't know if anyone wants to buy it, you're not really sure whether anyone cares about the thing you're selling, you don't know if you're adding value to any marketplaces, it's very, very risky, and you're never going to be sure whether the product's going to work or not. So if you go where the demand is, where the money's being spent, you've got a much higher chance of getting success. So the next question might be, well, how do we figure out the demand of a product? How do you tell whether customers are spending money on it? Well, there's tons of ways to do this. You can use Amazon's bestseller rank. You can use Jungle Scout, Ace Inspector. Like, there's loads of software out there you can use to tell whether a product has demand. Find the one that suits you and then use it and apply it. And if you found a product that's got demand, got customers already spending money in that area, you know that if you offer something to that marketplace, the thing's going to sell. So that's the first thing to focus on, right? You want to find products that have demand. But that's not all, because you could sell a product that has loads of demand. Like, you might think, well, iPods sell really well. Maybe I want to make an iPod and sell that. It's obviously a terrible idea. And the reason why is because the competition with iPods, you're competing against Apple and all the other MP3 players on the marketplace, is unbelievably high. So not only do you want to find a product with high demand, you want to find a product with low competition. That way you know that there is a starving crowd, as Dana would put it, right? There's a gap. There's an opportunity for you to add value to the marketplace, offer something new, and get space in the marketplace, get customers to actually buy your product, because there isn't too many competing products in the marketplace. So you want high demand, low competition, but they're not the only two pieces of the puzzle, right? You want to make sure a few other things are in place as well. Once you've got your product imported, you want to make sure you have a few strategies in place to actually get it to sell, right? You don't just want to shove it into the Amazon marketplace and pray, that customers are going to buy it from you, because really there are over 400 million products on the marketplace right now that customers could buy instead of spending money on your one. So how do you make sure that your product goes high up in the search results quickly and that customers are actually clicking on it and buying it? Well, there's a pretty simple answer to that question. You need to have a solid marketing strategy. Now, there's several ways of marketing products on Amazon. Probably the most popular and most effective one is pay-per-click advertising, right? Using Amazon's own sponsored ads to get products to sell. This is proven to work. You spend a little bit of money on ads, you make sales. Hopefully, your sales are more profitable than your ads. But that's never quite enough, right? You can't just try and rely on pay-per-click, because if your product's terrible, it doesn't matter how much money you spend on ads, you're never going to make any profit, right? You're just going to be throwing money down the drain. So you have to make sure that your product really answers the benefits that the customers are looking for. What are the customers' desired results? What are they aching for you to help them with? Problems that they're looking to get solved, what are they? If you can address what those problems are, make it clear that your product fills those gaps, solves those problems, then customers are going to be clicking on your product like crazy. Then you can use sponsored ads to get sales. Then you can start to get reviews. You can start to do promotions, give your products away for free or for cheap, and start to build up the sales of your product. And then if you do that, you have marketing, you've got a product that's very high demand, low competition, you're pretty much guaranteed to eliminate the risk that your product isn't going to sell. Okay, so these are the three main risks, right? You follow my advice today, they're not going to be risks for you anymore. They're going to be risks for people who really don't take this stuff seriously and learn how to succeed selling private label products. So I hope this has been helpful for you today. What I want to do now is actually open the chat. If you guys have got any questions or anything that you want to ask me, I'm going to stay on here for a couple minutes and answer them for you. Now, here's the thing. You might be thinking, well, this sounds awesome. I've eliminated 3 risks that I could encounter whilst importing products from China. But how do I actually find hot selling products in the marketplace so I can even begin my journey? How do I get confidence and clarity that I'm choosing products that are definitely going to sell, that there's a high demand, that there's low competition, and all the factors line up so I can pull the trigger and invest money in stock and actually build this business? Well, if you've been asking that question, I've got something you can actually take action on right now that isn't going to break the bank. There isn't a ridiculously expensive course or coaching program or anything like that. If you want to get all the information you need to get started, then you can actually start by grabbing my book, How to Build and Run a Successful E-commerce Portfolio. If you click the link that's just on, I don't know if it's on the right or the left or above this video, you can see there's a link to grab my book. It's literally $5 and it will give you everything that you need to start building and growing an Amazon business and actually seeing it as an investment portfolio rather than an e-commerce business. With this new unique take on building a private label business, you won't just be focused on importing products, you'll be focused on building assets. And when you have that kind of attitude, you're thinking about e-commerce from the standpoint of a billionaire rather than someone who's just trying to make a quick buck with the strategy. Now, this book's going to tell you so much value. You're going to get access to my smash hit product radar, which tells you how to seek out hot seller within a few hours of searching. I give you case studies of products that work really well, why they work well, and even more importantly to that, case studies of products that don't work well and why they don't work well, right? So you'll have examples that get you crazy amounts of clarity so you know whether to invest in a product or whether not to. I'm going to teach you where to find free traffic to send to your Amazon listings. You're going to learn why aiming to sell the most expensive product on the marketplace works better than anything else in most cases, and why pricing yourself at the premium end is a really, really good idea. You're going to learn about the $21,000 per month plastic and paper product that you wish you already imported. You're going to learn how to import and sell products that don't cause you massive amounts of hassle. And you're going to learn why making less sales is actually a really powerful strategy. So if you're interested in learning more about this business, getting started and actually having access to all the information you need to start importing products, grab my book right now. There's a link there in the description of this Facebook Live. And in the meantime, I'll be happy to take any of your questions, type them in the chat for me, and I'll get to helping you out. Awesome. Paul says, do you use inspection companies? Hit your sample and it's 100% perfect. How do you ensure the quality of the order matches? Great question. So to this day, I actually don't use inspection companies as of yet. Usually if the sample's on point, then I'm relatively trusting. It's just my personality, I guess. It's worked well for me so far. And what I do is I make an initial small order of products once I've got the sample, and just before they do a big run, I get them to take a picture of the product and send it to me. Or sometimes what I've done is once they've done the customization of the product, I'll get them to send that sample to me so I can check it, and then I'll have a good idea of how the rest of the run will pan out. So good question, man. I don't use inspection companies yet. If I was to do like a huge order of like 10,000 products, then I probably would. But I hadn't seen it as being necessary. If you're going to do things like electronics, any kind of supplements or really complex, slightly high hassle products, I would definitely use an inspection company. Awesome question, Paul. Jay says, what's your opinion on programs like FBA Wizard and Tactical Arbitrage? Great question, man. So, yeah, software to help you search and analyze products is really powerful. If you use it as part of a system to get consistent products research in your business, right? So they can be really, really powerful tools, but you have to kind of understand the fundamentals of why you should be using these tools, what kind of products to look for, and all that stuff first. And then once you've started to get consistent sales, then maybe introduce a piece of software and see if it fits within your business model. Me personally, I don't use any arbitrage research software. I use analysis software such as Jungle Scout because it speeds things up for me. But just see them as tools, not as like, magic buttons that are going to run your whole business, if that makes sense. Hope that helps, J-Man. Thanks for the question. Let's have a look. Wester says, do you have a dropshipping course for eBay? No, I don't. I did do some eBay dropshipping actually a long time ago, which was very fun, but I haven't done it for a while. Peter says, which is better, Jungle Scout or ASIN Inspector for searching products? Good question, man. For me, my personal experience has been Jungle Scout. I've tested the revenue of my products against Jungle Scout stats, and they've been proven to actually be quite accurate. So for that reason, I'd say Jungle Scout's better, just because I've tried it, but I haven't tried comparing ASIN Inspector, so I don't know. Just get one of them. And just get going, man. And my personal recommendation is Jungle Scout. Awesome. Alistair says, beauty private label products. I'm already ungated. Better to import from China or from UK? Good question, man. So really it all depends on the particular product you're selling and where you can get a decent supply. So if you can get a profitable supplier from the UK and after all costs and everything, it's going to make you a profit, then do that. I guess it depends. I haven't really done much beauty. I haven't done any beauty products, actually. I stick to, I've got a home brand, so I wouldn't know in that specific niche. But it's just about just doing research and seeing what would be better. There's no definite answer, I guess, is the answer. Awesome, guys. So if you really want to get started and you want to just finally get clarity about which kind of products you should be looking for, how to get a good handle on the fundamentals of the importing strategy without getting confused or making mistakes, then definitely grab my book. The link's in the description up there or up there or up there. I don't really know where the description is on your screen. Click that. You'll get to read all the info about the book. And just to let you know, the page is up at the moment and I'm kind of doing it as a test. I'm actually spending a bit of money on ads to get people to buy the book. So I make a bit of a loss with these book sales at the moment. So it's not going to be up for too long because I might pull it down if the test doesn't work. So if you really want to learn this stuff and grab the book now for like a crazy, it's like $5, then jump on the opportunity right now. And there's a money back guarantee. I know it's only a $5, But if you're not happy for any reason, just shoot me an email and I'm happy to give you a refund. And by the way, you might be thinking, well, it's $5. Why is it so cheap? There really is no catch. Okay, it's not like I'm going to try and get you to join some kind of membership program or rebill you or anything like that. It really is just one payment of $5. So do yourself a favor and grab it today, because it might not be up for too long. Awesome. Jay says, what's the best way of contacting you? Haven't heard back from you. Cool, man. Yeah, so I don't reply to all emails because I get quite a lot in my inbox. Try sending another email, man, and hopefully I'll see it in time, or someone from my team will. Awesome, we've got some good questions coming in. So Mezabin says, how do you make your own listing? Any tips? Good question, man. So it's actually a very quite lengthy, complicated process to describe the whole process of creating a listing, but the fundamentals are you want a really solid title with good keywords, good benefits about what your product does and why it's better than other products in the marketplace, why people would want to buy it, high quality pictures, action pictures, descriptive pictures, all different kinds of photos that shows your product in action and why it's such a good quality product. Really hard hitting bullet points which outline benefits of your product, and a great description which encourages people to buy it instantly. That's kind of the fundamentals of creating your own listing. To go into it in a little bit more detail would take a lot longer, but they're kind of the fundamentals. Hope that helps for now. Max says, I just bought the book. When do you think I'll get it? Awesome, man. So it should be in your inbox. Go check. Alice says she's already got the book. Great stuff. Awesome. Oh, Max has already got his book. Awesome, man. Read it, take notes, print it, write it, tattoo the hot smash hit product radar on your person, because it should be your gospel if you're going to look for private label products. If you're not using the smash hit product radar to find products, then you're not really private labeling. So memorize those 4 elements and use them every time you look for products. Awesome, guys. Johnny says, any tips on getting around duty on imports? Great question, man. No, because you're going to get locked up. There's two inevitabilities in life. You're born, you're going to die. And the third one is you're going to have to pay tax. So I probably wouldn't advise trying to get around it. Great question, man. Nice to see you. Mike says, forgive my ignorance, but I see a banner of the book above. By clicking it, is it a carousel? Can anyone give me the link? Awesome, man. Here you go. I will try to send that to you. There you go, Mike. I'll just put that in the description for you, man. Thanks for the question. Great stuff, guys. I've had fun today. I hope you got value from this Facebook Live. Let me know if you've got any other questions or anything. Type them in the chat. I'm going to stick around for a couple minutes. I'll put the link in the description for you, Mike, there, man, so you can grab it. Awesome. Drinking my coconut water. Got a good response today, guys. It's been awesome. Cool. 2 more questions. Type them in the chat super quick, and then I'm going to call it a day. It's been super fun. Go to info.ecommercefreedom.com/book and invest this tiny amount to learn the fundamentals of the private label strategy. Great stuff, guys. Awesome. Thanks so much for being live with me today. It's been a lot of fun. Have an awesome evening, and I'll catch you all very, very soon. Take care, guys. Cheers, Johnny. Cheers, Mike. Cheers, Tracy. See you guys very soon.